Now you may know Japan as the country with weird game shows on TV. But I assure you, there's more to Japan. They have weird TV shows too. To be fair though, I like weird shows, which is why my favorite show is the Eric Andre Show. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the late night Japanese skit comedy show.
Vermilion Pleasure Night.
I will only be covering some of the skits from the first 5 out of 25 episodes. The first skit in this show is the most memorable, not just because it's reoccurring in every episode, but because it was actually good. The Fuck-Ons, an American family of mannequins, make a choice to move to Japan. The family is made up of a boy, Mikey, and his 2 parents, Barbara and James. In The Fuck-Ons, a lot of it is very random and goofy. For example, there's an episode where Mikey gets kidnapped and the parents just talk about getting another kid and how Mikey would be an older brother. Later he shows up at the front door inside a box while he's broken apart and Mikey's happy to be home, and the whole family just ends up laughing. It's weird because the family happens to laugh at everything, even if it doesn't make sense to laugh at the time.
レイプって何？
そんな言葉に興味持つんじゃねえこのアホガキが。
Midnight Cooking is a segment in which, you guessed it, is a fucking cooking show. Except the method in cooking and or the things they cook is very different to what you would see in a typical household. From sniffing paint thinner to straight up cannibalism, it's very hard to tell where the line is drawn with this cooking show because it obviously wasn't drawn here. Starship Residence, a story about an alien man named Toshio that lives in an apartment above 3 other women. In the first episode, the women below him order drugs and the person that is supposed to deliver them to the 3 ladies accidentally ends up delivering them to Toshio. And since Toshio is sick, he believes that the drugs are the medicine his mom was going to send him. The person delivering the drugs takes all of Toshio's money and leaves him with the drugs. Then this shit happens. Overall, this is a harmless skit. My only problem is in the fact that in later episodes, anything that happens to him makes him fall and flail around like a fucking toddler. And while it's not very entertaining watching him drop to the floor and kick his legs up in the air every 2 seconds, this happens on the first episode as well, but not on the same magnitude. If you look past that, you might find it entertaining. But for me, it's made it unbearable to watch. A juvenile delinquent Takako is a story centered on Takako, a rebellious teenager that happens to create havoc when she feels like it or when she gets mad by committing mannequin genocide, even to her own family. This is probably my favorite skit, just because of how stupid it is. In one part, she was getting picked on by 3 girls, and then she spit on one of them. A teacher shows up, and then she's blamed for smoking by the 3 girls. Then she just goes full psycho. All this is entertaining to watch, at least for me. I guess there's just something I find entertaining about this girl beating the shit out of these mannequins. Another skit is Dr. Pharaoh. The best way to describe it is a child's fever dream. With there not being any context given to you, you're just left staring at this shit. After seeing this, I wouldn't blame you if you happen to skip this segment of the show. And while it's not particularly entertaining, it's still far from the worst that Vermilion Pleasure Night has to offer. That title goes to... If you were to tell me that this skit was invented for any other reason than to piss off the viewer, then I'd say I wouldn't believe you. The fact of the matter is that this skit is by far the worst thing I've seen on the show. It was so fucking bad that I couldn't bring myself to even fully watch the segments besides the first one. If you couldn't guess... What the fuck? If you couldn't guess it from the title that this skit was about a zombie family, well then congratulations, you're about as dumb as the fucking people that made this shit. The family is composed of a zombie mother and her 2 zombie daughters. All that happens in these episodes is that the family is together, and when the daughters happen to do or say anything that the mom doesn't like, she goes off on an axe-wielding rampage, leaving her daughters with axes in their heads. This same thing happens over and over and over again. One could argue that the Takako skit is just like this, using the same joke of beating up mannequins over and over again. But at least in there, Takako's facing different scenarios with different people. But in Zombie Family, it's the same people with the same axes going into the same heads. If you need more proof as to why I think this is the worst skit, it's the voices.
たねお母さん奮発したねこれ高いやろよう買えたなあんたらよっちゃんのボーナスと私のバイトで貯めたお金全部なくなったわ
The voices the zombie family has pisses me off. They couldn't make the voices any more annoying. I'd rather watch that video with the stupid gummy rat. In the end, am I saying that Vermilion Pleasure Night is going to be worth watching? No. The number of bad skits in this show just far outweigh the good ones. Trying to watch all of it would just probably end up leaving you brain dead. One of the questions that drove me to make this video is what happened to the cast members in this show? Where are they now? It's pretty insane to think that some people could be wiped off the face of the earth, leaving no traces and fading into obscurity. Going to the Wikipedia page for Vermilion Pleasure Night, we can see the cast members. However, attempting to click the cast members' names brings up an empty page for them. So then I tried searching for their names on Google, and there weren't any useful search results. I ended up finding a page called All Cinema for Vermilion Pleasure Night. On it showed the cast members' names once again, except this time when I clicked on them, most of the names yielded nothing or a dead end. Only one really led to something useful. One person that didn't fade into obscurity. Rio, also known as Tina Yuzuki. Knowing the name Tina Yuzuki finally led me in the right direction, as searching up her name finally gave me what I was looking for. She was a porn star, but she ended up retiring in 2016. Didn't really come as a shocker to me. Kinda had a hunch one of the cast members would always follow that road when I first watched Vermilion Pleasure Night.
Oh, yes! You're so good! Come on! Come on, Toshi! Come on, Toshi! Come on!
I ended up finding her on Twitter, and the last thing she tweeted was at the end of May, so I take it that she's doing fine. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. She gets shot. As for everyone else that was casted for Vermilion Pleasure Night, we may never know. So I made a mistake in my video. I said that Tina Yuzuki was the only one that actually left a trace. I was wrong. This lady here, Katagiri Hanako, she ended up getting married in 2013. So, I mean, it's not very recent. But I mean, at least she's still alive, maybe. I don't fucking know. Fairly recent. I really appreciate you guys sticking with this video till the end. I wanted to add in a little more, but I didn't want to bore anyone with making the video too long. Hopefully that wasn't the end result. If you have any criticism or anything you want me to cover, please let me know through the comment section. Make sure to like the video if you liked it, share it if you fucking want, and subscribe.